Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ros Clark, this is Ros Clark Craft, and you're very welcome to join me for the second in my little series of cross-stitch magazine reviews. I feel like that's quite a specialist niche kind of video, but I'm enjoying doing them. If you're interested, my first review was of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and I will put a link to that below. I might even see if I can put a link to it up here somewhere. Who knows? You'll know if you're watching, and I have no idea at this point if I'll manage that. This time I want to review for you XStitch magazine. XStitch magazine. This is a magazine which is edited by Mr. XStitch, whose name is Jamie something and I can't remember. I met him once at a knitting and stitching show a few years ago. He seemed really nice, and I was really intrigued by the things that he had on his stand. They were traditional but with a really fun, quirky twist to them. In particular, I remember he had a series of little square tapestry canvases that looked like they were from a kit, and then you looked a bit closer and clearly he'd done something different with them entirely. I will see if I can track down any photos of those to put in here so you can see the kind of thing that I mean. But what I really like, I guess, is there's a sense of recognizing the long history and tradition of stitching whilst also playing with it and having fun. It's not dismissing everything that has come before in a way that some contemporary cross stitches, I feel, you just get a sense of, oh, but you know, everything that people did in the past was naff and twee and whatever. And while there's obviously a big tranche of the cross-stitch world that's all about the reproduction sampler and the primitive stitching, at the sort of cool, edgy, modern end, it can just, even if it's not explicit, it can just feel a bit dismissive sometimes of the history that's there. And I never get that sense with Mr. XStitch and his work that he's in any way dismissive of previous generations' work. So XStitch magazine, I didn't know this existed until I got my Readly subscription, and I have it on Readly set to show me by default craft and DIY magazines. That's the sort of category. You can read any kind of magazine on Readly pretty much, but those are what sort of I have as my default front page, and it automatically just adds in all the magazines in that category as they release new issues. And so I was really intrigued when suddenly one of these XStitch mags came up on my front page, and I was like, oh, not seen that before. I've certainly never seen a physical copy of this. I think it does come as print copies, but my guess is you would have to order them directly from the website. I will link below. I've never seen it on sale, certainly not in a sort of magazine stand or a newsagent. Possibly in some craft stores they sell it. I'm just going to show you, this is the sort of front covers of the last couple of years of editions. You can get a sense this is not traditional. There are 5 years, yes, 2017, 5 years of back issues available. There are a mix of what they call themed issues and, oh, honestly, I don't want newspapers, there we are, theme issues, and also what they call mixtape magazines. The first of those mixtape ones, you can see there, it's got the that wonderful cross-stitch design of old-fashioned cassettes. So, you know, the themes are, what have we got? Revolution, green, which is a mix of environmental and just literally green coloured, heroes, the munchies, love. What else have we got here? I can't read everything. The 1970s is a theme. Adventure, yay, cute. And then this is the most recent edition, this one in the top left. This is the mystery edition. Did you see any of that? Possibly not. Anyway, it's this one here, and it's the mystery edition. So it comes out quarterly. It has a a whole mix of designers who contribute to it. It includes both patterns and interviews, photos of people's previous work. There's a little section where you can write in and say, I'd really like a cross-stitch pattern for whatever, and somebody will design it for you. So in some senses, it feels a little bit more like your sort of traditional stitching magazine than Punch, Needle and Primitive Stitcher, which was very much all about the patterns. Yeah, this has, I think, more features than that did, but in other ways it's very non-traditional. So what I thought I would do is try and show you, just walk you through this most recent edition, talk about some of the things that you see in there, some of the regular features and what you can expect. So there's the cover in a slightly bigger picture, and this is the mystery edition, as I said. So you never know how people are going to take that theme. So there's some introduction, contributors, designers, contents list, which in this edition is called the case files, which gives you a little bit of a hint. And then we're in Cross Stitch Manifesto, little introduction from Jamie Chalmers, that's his name, who is the founder of XStitch magazine. And here is the first pattern, and I love this. I absolutely love this. It is designed to be like the cover of a classic detective mystery novel from the early 20th century. It's called The Lady in the Suitcase, a silver thread mystery, and I just sort of love it. You can just see that on the cover of an Agatha Christie novel. And I love the way they've done this sort of transparent effect, translucent effect, seeing the train through the lady, and is she really there? And you know, it just has that sort of mysteries happen on steam trains, I think. So that's really fun. Okay, we won't show you the chart. Okay, this one, if you see my most recent Flosstube, you'll recognise this. I have already stitched this. I have to stop touching the screen. I have already stitched this. This is the backwards, back to front question mark. This is by Jamie himself, Mr. XStitch. And so all of those are the back of somebody's work, and the chart, which I won't show you, you stitch obviously from the front. What I will do is grab mine that I stitched. So this is the front. I did a whole lot of additional smaller cross stitches, question marks, which I charted, but that orangey greeny one in the middle is the chart from the magazine, and that's what it looks as you stitch it. That's what the chart looks like, and then obviously the question mark appears from the back, and you know, the question is, how much of your back are you willing to show? So that's just a fun, simple, quick design that I enjoyed stitching. What else? She held the room with her gaze. There we go. So sort of, yeah, I don't quite know where that fits with the theme. Smouldering in her gold cheongsam, she stands resplendent in front of an Asian-inspired screen, smirking, smoking and drinking. Ms. Martini is a sultry siren that you will die for. There we go. That's Ms. Martini. One of the things I find interesting in this magazine, there's nothing really about finishing. So I like the way that they display this finished piece. I think, you know, the sort of accessories around it give it a, I believe that's called a flat lay, and it looks very cool. But it's not, you know, the piece itself is just stitched, and then I guess it's laced around a board or something like that. It's not framed, it's not in a hoop, it's not made into a flat fold. You can see the question mark one. These are just left raw edged in the way they're displayed. This one's got a simple little frame on it, but you know, this is not a magazine about exciting finishes. It's really about the stitching. Then there's an article here. It's called the Libidan Lecture because it's written by somebody who's called Libidan. So this is an article with the mystery sort of theme. When it comes to cross stitch, there are many mysteries, and so answering some kind of question that you might have, like why is Ada called Ada? no one knows is the mystery. Yeah, those kind of things. Okay, this is the one I was saying where you could put in your request and get a thing. So one thing I'd love to stitch is a flock of flamingos. Somebody else wants to do a tank. I'm just gonna flash these on screen and then take them off because there's only the chart, they're not stitched up. Oh, this one. Do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? That is the King of Mystery and the author of Nightmares. It's a depiction of Stephen King. It's called King Ink. And it's got that kind of grim blood dripping through it. And you can see again, there's actually nothing on there that shows you how this is finished. The blood is obviously just photoshopped on. It's just the stitching itself is all you see there. And a chart for that. We've got a review here of a book called Cross Stitch Design Basics, review article. Next pattern, Suddenly a Celestial Presence. It's not my thing, but I can see a lot of people really wanting to stitch that unicorn with the sort of galaxy design inside it. Gallop across a universe of possibilities with the galactic unicorn. There you go. One thing I really love about the way they do it in this is you get both colour and black and white charts. So as you go through, you get the colour charts, but there's always a little thing saying, do you want symbols? And you just scroll to the back of the magazine and all the charts are there in black and white with just the symbols. Some of the colour charts, so this colour chart for the unicorn has got symbols as well. Some of the little ones don't even have symbols, they just have the colours. Cross stitches of Instagram, so there's a little feature, this time on somebody called urbanstitches.co.uk. The Urban Stitches on Instagram, and showing you some of the things that they've stitched. Enter at your own risk, no passing zone. And the suggestion is that you might stitch that up as a door hanger for your grumpy teenager. The brick on the back of the sign is not charted. I guess that is a printed design on the fabric. You only get the chart for the actual no passing zone sign. Those are pictures of things that people have stitched up from previous editions of the magazine. Little biscornu, pinning down the truth. I love this. I genuinely might do this next sometime soon. It's a biscornu and the pattern is all magnifying glasses and fingerprints and a trilby and a question mark. And yeah, I just think it's very fun. And they suggest, and I think it's a really fun idea, using satin floss to make the blood glisten, light effects to make the magnifying glass sparkle, and glow in the dark thread so that the fingerprints show up in the dark. I mean, I think that's very cool indeed. Yeah, and on the back, the sort of bottom pattern of the biscornu, you can't really see it here, but it's bloody handprints. Yeah, I think that's really fun. And, you know, I would never want to stitch a whole cross-stitch piece that's that sort of thing and have it on the wall. But for this little biscornu, it's pretty adorable. What else? So a link to some instructions for biscornu finishing, tool review, thread winder. This is the pattern that was on the front cover, Bad Moon Rising. I have no idea what that's about. That is not within my frame of reference at all. Oh, it's tarot, I think, tarot cards. Yeah, I won't be doing that. I like this. International designers, they always have this, a little map of the world showing you where all the designers who have contributed to this issue come from. Oh, what happened there? This pattern of a moth, I think this is really lovely too, and I can definitely see stitching that up for a hoop finish. But again, you notice there's no actual finish shown here, it's just the stitching. Yeah, moths, quite mysterious creatures, most active at night, where they appear to magically come out of the darkness. I don't know that I would stitch the word imagine. But I like the rest of the design, so I might stitch that. This month's interview is with Emma Congdon. So it's just illustrated with some of her designs. These designs are not in the magazine. They're just showing the kind of things that she does. What tools does she use? What's your best advice for a designer? Which designers and artists are you inspired by? That kind of thing, illustrated. Now, this is absolutely brilliant. There was only one person to call: Sherlock Holmes. I'm not the world's greatest Sherlock Holmes fan. I think it's fine, but you know, they're not my go-to mystery books. If you know a Sherlock Holmes fan, and you know, people who are fans are real fans, this would be a really great stitch. My name is Sherlock Holmes. It is my business to know what other people do not. And the thing I like most about it is not just the pattern, but I just love that border. The border and the sort of image and the way that those are styled with the sort of fading crumpled edges. I think it's brilliant. Let me see who designed this. Sweet Annette, I believe, is the name of the designer. And it's actually therefore a lot less stitching than you might think. The chart is actually quite sparse. I don't think this would take an enormous amount of time to stitch. It only uses 3 colours for the cross stitching and then black for some back stitching. I think that will be pretty easy to stitch. It's designed to be used to be stitched on 14 count Ada. I don't think that's a hard pattern. The moon made me do it. There, cross stitcher of the month. So again, a little interview with somebody. This is also brilliant. Just then, help arrived. Who needs a mystery machine when you've got a curious camper? Scooby Dooby Doo. I really like that. I don't know that I will ever stitch that. And again, you see what I mean about the finishing. It's just the stitching photoshopped onto a sort of mysterious background image. You'd have to work out for yourself what on earth you were going to do with that. But it's really fun. And there's even with a themed issue, it's so broadly interpreted. You might think, well, I'm just not really into detective fiction or mystery novels. Great. But, you know, you might still be into Scooby-Doo, or you might be into moths or tarot or the moon or, you know, like for me, the first thing that caught my eye was that back to front question mark. You don't have to be into any kind of book or genre for that. It's just fun. So, yeah, I think they do a really good job of having a wide range of things. Now, this pattern, Who Was She? Who was she? This is what it says. The lyrics from the song sums up the feline mystery lady's cat-like stare. I don't think I would ever stitch that, but it's a clever design. But yeah. Anyway, there's also a font which I can't. Oh, maybe if I turn it this way. There we go. I can show you the font without showing the chart on the other side. So every issue comes with a font that sort of fits somehow with the theme of the magazine. And this is a sort of ransom note magazine letter sampler. I mean, you know, that's quite fun, isn't it? You could use that for all kinds of things. And it just goes nicely with the theme, doesn't it? Especially on that blood spattered printed fabric. There's a basic introduction to how to cross stitch, how to do French knots, how to lace your stitching, an advert, another design. Can your audio tape do this? Yeah. I'm not sure I fully understand that. Maybe that was an advert from the 1980s, I think. Anyway, chart for that. A little bit about all the different designers. And then Like I say, at the back you get the black and white charts for all the designs. As you go through you get the colour charts, but then at the end they have black and white charts for all of them. And that, I think, is it. Yeah, oh, and a little hint, the next issue is going to be themed tropical, it says. Let me just go back to the beginning and check how many designs you got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, I think. 16 designs, 16 charts. I've no idea actually how much this costs because I just get it with my Readly subscription. I will, as I say, link to the website for the magazine below and also give you an idea of how much it costs. There's definitely a digital subscription. I think there's a print subscription as well if you're interested. I think I want to say this is a magazine I think more people should know about and be stitching from. It has a really big range of projects, from little tiny things that you could easily use as like cards, smalls that you could do, but also sometimes has quite big complex charts. It doesn't often have really traditional primitive or sampler style charts, but it definitely has things that, you know, are not as cool and edgy as you might think they need to be. So for example, in the issue, I've still got this there, let me find the thing for that. Thing of it stitched up, not just, there we go. This was from the Cute themed edition. I think that's a pattern you could easily find or expect to find in, you know, a Cross Stitch or a World of Cross Stitch magazine or something like that. It's a My Little Pony rainbow unicorn. You know, it's not all cool and edgy. Some of it is straightforward. Now there are things, I really like the owl from that issue, that are a bit more of a sort of edgier interpretation of Cute, shall we say. Don't call me cute, call me a badass. Or where we are, Dial a Snail. I mean, that's very cute. Yeah, some of these are, I'm like, really, people actually want to stitch that, but apparently they do. There was one that I had in mind that is really, really not in the, I mean, that's cute as your pug dressed up as a stegosaurus. I don't really like that at all. But you know, if that's your thing, that's great. Yeah, this is where we're kind of getting into slightly edgier cute territory. Cute skull cupcake thing. And still can't find the one that I had in mind. There we are. Hello Cutie. You know, that's not your traditional cute, but that is in the same issue as Rainbow Unicorn and little cute emojis and all sorts of stuff. So I do genuinely think it's a magazine that almost everybody would be able to find something that they enjoyed stitching. It's a great way of finding new designers. It often features quite small up and coming new designers as well as bigger name people. Lots of things are small and fun to stitch very quickly, but there are also bigger projects if that's the sort of thing that you prefer to do. There's not loads of filler, but there are interesting articles and I really like it. So there we go. So that's XStitch mag. Yeah, I have one or two ideas of other magazines that I might review, but do let me know in the comments if there's a magazine that you've wondered about that you think would be interesting just to hear a bit more and get a real sense of the kinds of things that it includes and whether or not it's something that you want to subscribe to or try a couple of editions of. So I'm not sure quite when the next one in this review series will come, and maybe I'll review other things, not just magazines, But let me know if there's something in particular that you'd like me to have a look at for you. And I will be back in a week or two with my next normal floss tube. Thanks so much for watching.